Microtransactions is a word used for the most despicable things in a video game. But where did they begin, and what do they look like today? That's what we're going to be looking at. Before we begin, if you enjoy this type of content, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Now we're really looking at how all this started, and how it evolved and what it's like today. The first instance of actual serious downloadable content is Elder Scrolls Oblivion, back in 2006 by Bethesda Softworks. However, Microsoft really started it with slipping in usually cheap microtransactions through a new kind of point system they made. A great example of this is Perfect Dark Zero's attempt to sell maps to players in 2005. Microsoft points became quite controversial after being picked up by Bethesda and used in the most blatant way possible to buy armor for your horse. However, it's pretty clear that it's much better to be able to see exactly what you're buying instead of getting random stuff you may not like from loot boxes, which were pioneered way back in 2004. So you can see that pretty early on in 3D gaming, microtransactions were included and quite prevalent. Early in the 2010s would be when microtransactions really did hit the mainstreams. EA really stepped into it to combat the selling of used games that clearly don't benefit them in any financial way, only the person selling the copy on eBay for instance. They locked certain game modes behind a paywall in Tiger Woods' PGA Tour 11, and that year other sports games required you to pay $10 to unlock online play if you bought the copy used. Ubisoft, Activision, and THQ followed behind EA with their own titles, having online passes to combat the growing movement of the selling of used titles. Since then, it expanded into requiring the players to pay money just to get certain items and features in the game bundled into one full season pass. This was so that the consumer would pay for things that they wouldn't normally pay for just one price. Loot boxes became the industry standard soon thereafter, with the implications of it being in games like TF2 basically being the earliest example. It would continue with games like CSGO, which resulted in multiple lawsuits being filed against them for underage and online gambling. Microtransactions have now leaked into the mobile market of games, which at points just look like they're begging for young kids that don't know what they're doing to drop $100 for some useless item in-game. They're extremely prevalent in free games, which at points is okay. After all, the people made the game want to make money off of it, even though ads in my opinion are much better than stuffing microtransactions into a game, but that's really besides the point. However, when it becomes clear that they tricked you into downloading it because it was free, and then they shove microtransactions down your throat to continue playing at that point, you might as well just put a price tag on it. So they have evolved with popular games today like Overwatch, Battlefield 5, and even Nintendo dipped their feet into microtransactions, with games like Zelda Breath of the Wild for extra paid DLC. Now Nintendo didn't abuse the system really at all, but it's still interesting to see. It's very important to know why they are doing this. Why are they constantly trying to make things behind a paywall? Video games have become increasingly more expensive to make, and of course no one wants to raise the prices of their games because no one will buy their competition will win. So to make up for it, they have included microtransactions. However, the companies that completely overdo it are EA, Bethesda, and Activision. Now, a great example of using microtransactions is actually Fortnite. It's totally free, but to not feel and look like a noob, you're pressured into buying the skin. It's totally optional. So, microtransactions are a tricky topic with lots of convoluted paths. But one thing is clear. COD points are dumb!